What would you do if the one person you trusted more than anyone else in this world was living a life you never even imagined? Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because the stories you hear here aren't just stories. They're experiences. And trust me, this one, it might stay with you longer than you expect at. Also, drop a comment below, tell me where you're watching from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to see how far these stories travel. Now, let's begin. The night my world fell apart wasn't loud. There was no screaming, no shattered glass, no dramatic confrontation. It was silent, painfully, hauntingly silent. It started with something so small, so ordinary, that if I had blinked, I might have missed it. The pale blue glow of my phone screen at exactly 2 a.m. I remember the room clearly. Her bedroom, cold, still, quiet in a way that almost felt unnatural. Chicago nights have a certain emptiness to them, especially when you're staring at something you don't yet understand. My phone buzzed once, just once. That was all it took, a message. Not meant for me, but somehow it had found its way to my number. I frowned, half asleep, my eyes struggling to focus as I unlocked the screen. And then I read it. Does he know you're with Mark tonight? Be careful, Sarah. There are moments in life when time doesn't just slow down. It stops. Your mind doesn't process what you've read right away. It fights it, rejects it, because accepting it would mean everything you believed in was a lie. My heart didn't break. It didn't shatter. It didn't crack. It disappeared, evaporated into nothing. In that one single moment, 10 years of marriage turned into dust. I slowly turned my head, and there she was. Sarah. Sleeping peacefully beside me, breathing softly, completely calm, untouched by the storm that had just destroyed my entire existence. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. The man who had gone to sleep that night was never waking up again. Morning came like it always does. Indifferent. Unforgiving. I watched her as she got ready for work. She hummed softly, moving around the room like nothing had changed, like everything was normal. Morning, babe, she said, leaning down to kiss my cheek. That kiss, it burned. Not with love, but with something far worse. Betrayal. It's strange how the mind works. All the little things you once ignored, all the small, disconnected moments suddenly come together. Like pieces of a puzzle you didn't even know you were solving. The late nights at work, the sudden emergencies, the way she would step out onto the balcony to take calls. Her phone always face down, always locked, always close. Her laughter had changed. Her touch had disappeared. And every time I tried to get close, she'd pull away. You're being needy, James. Her voice sharp, defensive, manipulative. I had blamed stress, work pressure. Life. But now I saw the truth, crystal clear. And Mark, my friend, someone I had trusted. Someone I had welcomed into my life, into my home. They weren't just hiding something. They were living in a world where I didn't exist. A world built on lies, on arrogance, on the belief that they would never get caught. The breakdown didn't come all at once. It wasn't dramatic. It was slow. Quiet. Like something inside me was collapsing. Piece by piece, one afternoon, I found myself sitting alone in my car, parked along a deserted stretch of road overlooking Lake Michigan. The sky was gray, the water darker than I had ever seen it. And for the first time in my life, I couldn't breathe. I wasn't angry, not yet. I wasn't even thinking clearly. I just existed, a ghost of the man I used to be. But then something changed. The tears stopped, and in their place came something else. Something colder. Sharper. Stronger. Purpose. I realized something in that moment. I could walk away. Quietly. Disappear. Start over. But no, that wouldn't be enough. Because she didn't just betray me. She built a life on my trust and then destroyed it like it meant nothing. So I made a decision. I wasn't just going to leave. I was going to dismantle everything she had built. Piece by piece. Revenge doesn't always start with noise. Sometimes it starts with a single click, The click of a keylogger installed on her laptop. The quiet flash of a camera lens from a private investigator. The slow, methodical collection of truth. I became patient, colder than I ever thought possible. I gathered everything. Texts, emails, photos, hotel receipts, late night bookings. I saw them together. Laughing, smiling, holding hands like I never existed. I learned where they went, what they did, how long it had been happening, and the worst part? They were using our money. The savings I had built, the life I had worked for, funding their happiness. But I didn't react, not yet, because timing is everything. I hired a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, the kind of man who doesn't lose, the kind who leaves nothing behind. Every move I made was calculated. Silent. Precise. Assets were moved, documents prepared, everything secured. And then I waited. Her birthday was coming up, a big one, a celebration she had been planning for months. Friends. Family. Everyone would be there. It was perfect. The night at the party was flawless. Music filled the room. Laughter echoed through the apartment. Glasses. CLANKD. Smiles everywhere. And Sarah. She looked radiant. Like a queen in her kingdom. Mark stood nearby. Confident. Comfortable. Like he belonged. And me. I smiled, played my role, waited for my moment. Eventually, I stood up, raised my glass. The room quieted. All eyes turned to me, to my wife, Sarah. My voice was calm. Steady. Controlled. Double quotes. A woman who has taught me so much. She smiled. Proud. Unaware. About love. A pause. And about loss. Her smile faltered. Just slightly. I continued. She taught me that things aren't always what they seem. That perfection can hide something rotten. Now the room was silent. Uneasy. Confused. And then I turned it, gestured toward the large screen behind me. And in honor of her birthday, I prepared something special. The screen flickered to life. At first, people expected photos. Memories. Happy moments. But instead, the truth appeared. Clear. Unforgiving. Undeniable. Images of Sarah and Mark. Together. Kissing. Laughing. Holding each other. Moments never meant to be seen. The room froze. No one spoke. No one moved. Until a single gasp broke the silence. Her mother, Sarah's face, changed. Not just shock, not just fear, but complete destruction. Her world didn't crumble. It vanished. In front of everyone. People stared, some in disbelief. Others in disgust. Her parents walked out without a word. Mark, he disappeared. Like a coward. Gone. Just like that. And me. I just stood there, watching it all unfold. The next day, reality hit her harder than anything else ever could. The legal process began. Swift. Brutal. Final. The evidence irrefutable. The prenup activated. She lost everything. The apartment, the car, the money, the life she thought she controlled. All that remained was the truth and the shame that followed it. I heard later. She moved away. Small apartment, dead-end job, a life far removed from the one she chased. And sometimes, late at night, I stand on my balcony looking out at the city lights, thinking about that moment, that message, that blue glow in the dark, because it didn't just end a marriage. It didn't just expose a lie. It ended who I was and created someone else entirely. If this story made you feel something, make sure you subscribe, because there's more coming. And remember, not every betrayal is loud. Sometimes it whispers right before it destroys everything.